Some of the best stories in sports. Everyone standing as the madness has officially begun. The first four off and running here in Dayton, Ohio. And the Hornets from Alabama State, a team that enters the tournament 19-15. They went 12-6 in the SWAC. A turnover, but then they rip it right back. Omar Knox able to get it back. This is C.J. Hines up high off glass. And he's going to get us our first points of the night. A young man who's really had a great couple of weeks coming into the tournament.
He really has, Spiro. One of the things about Alabama State is they play really with four guards who can all handle the basketball. So watch for plays like that. A lot of dribble driving, and they will shoot the basketball once they kick it from the inside and out.
Pinedo inside on the cut. Able to get to the rim, but misses point blank.
Yeah, good strong drive just then from the perimeter for him. He's 6'8", 230, so made it look like a guard taking it to the hole, just couldn't finish it.
There's a pull-up three by Knox, wild miss. And St. Francis controls the rebound underneath with Cranford. Up ahead to Kelly, underneath Pinedo. St. Francis pulls the trigger on a three, and that's no good. Obviously some jitters. Red Flash, top 35 team in the country in terms of threes taken. But the Red Flash out of Laredo, Pennsylvania, central part of the state, about a 90-minute drive from Pittsburgh. A rich basketball tradition, Jim, from this school.
Yeah, they take about 24 threes per game. Nice work defensively, double teaming from the weak side just then. Good activity. Nice cross-court pass, too, here.
Interestingly, the Red Flash actually began their season here 4.5 months ago. They played their first game of the year against Dayton. As we take a look at the profile for Alabama State, what a season it's been for them. We mentioned their 12 wins in conference, 4th in the SWAC. A team that knocked off Jackson State, the number 2 seed in the SWAC championship game, to earn their trip here to Dayton. Great what a pass. Underneath, they drop a dime. It's Chris Moncrief. Beautiful setup from Pinedo.
Yeah, it was, because Pinedo handling the basketball very nicely just then. You bring it in, a dribble or two, force defenders to come out, and then release the basketball. You can't do it any better. Little 2-on-1 action.
Little floater that time from Hines, no good. Obviously, young man playing with confidence. What a pass. Pinedo, the catch and the finish. Just a brilliant pass from Kelly.
And if he didn't miss that layup, that if he did, the first shot he took, he'd have 3 buckets already, just the way he's been running the floor and getting openings. He does not look like he's too jittery to me. Somebody outside shooting, a couple of air balls, maybe so.
Jim, you never quite know how these young student athletes are going to handle the bright lights of this moment. Obviously, the biggest moments of their basketball journeys.
Pretty.
What a finish. It's Knox out of Memphis, Tennessee, and Bartlett High School. Young man who averaged better than 14 points per game on the season.
Yeah, and he's had 9 20-plus point games, so when you watch him play, he gets a little wound up and things can go in the right direction. Oh, just dropped down. Beauty.
Knox lost his footing, and Kelly able to take advantage. Kelly, the hero, he hit that go-ahead basket in the NEC tournament final as St. Francis earned their trip to Dayton against Central Connecticut State. Remember, in that conference, you have to go on the road against the higher seed, so they won it on the road.
And Kelly is a guy, Spiro, who's been going under the radar a little bit in terms of the recognition, because in the last 6 games, their win streak, he's been playing terrific basketball. Nice work right there by Moncrief to slow that down.
Moncrief on the push. Up ahead, transition 3, that's Parker from deep. And St. Francis so far still looking for its first 3-point basket. Whistle in the transition. St. Francis is called for the team foul.
So he comes over the top of that screen, and I guess it's an ankle breaker, but not because of the move. I guess he got caught up in the screen, and good time when you see a player go down like that. Nice read to see that over his right shoulder.
This is Micah Simpson, another Tennessee product, first year in the program. Now to Hines to try to get him reset. Shot clock down to 8. Try to set a screen to free up some of those three-point shooters. Wild miss from Hines. Terrific perimeter defense.
One of the things St. Francis does very well in their scouting reports is they contest the three-point shot really well.
Jimmy, they're just good at the three-point line at both ends of the floor. The way they shoot it and the way they defend it. As Parker had it stripped, and it's a red flash turnover. And everyone's going to catch their breath in the early stages in a two-point game. First four here in Dayton, Ohio. The madness has officially begun. Getting rolling here in the first four. Mr. Spinarco, give us your early observations. A two-point lead for St. Francis.
I would say just a little nerves have carried over here, getting things warmed up. And, you know, I think it's going to play out the way both of these teams are pretty good with the basketball, not turning it over. And it'll be interesting with Alabama State with their guard play on cue.
Boy, C.J. Hines hasn't been bashful at the start. Already his second field goal. That one from deep as he's put the Hornets now in front. 7-6 with just under 5 minutes gone by in this opening half. Another turnover committed by St. Francis, their third. Nice on the attack, near corner. This is Simpson lighting the lamp from deep.
And that's the beauty of their offense, right? They run it up the floor like that, and they flare to the corners when needed. Nice look coming down the floor, running. That's the beauty of having four guards that can handle on the floor with O'Connor on there also, the big guy.
But they left Kelly, so he's going to pull from deep. A little bit too much. And the rebound tracked down in the corner as the Hornets control with Ocon.
And Kelly at 31% on the season from the three-point stripe. Probably give him that look a little bit. Ooh, that was close. So a little flare cut to the right over here. Gets him wide open. And I also like the other side coming down the floor. Look at him draw three reds in there, the red shirts, and then they find the left-hand corner to go quickly with the three ball.
Just Stephen Walker will check into the game. Redshirt sophomore. He began the year as a reserve. He started a bunch of games, nearly the finish there. But he has become an awfully big piece for this Alabama State Hornets team. A couple of hard fakes by Cranford. He's going to pull, and he sticks it from deep. And finally, the red flash. This prolific three-point shooting team gets their first from deep. A little bit of contact, offensive foul. It's on Matlock.
Yeah, he's moving just a touch on that defensively, but I think it's that extra net shot to the chest. Watch as he comes around the corner. Defense a little out of position, but there's that push and that shoulder that comes into a moving defender. That's a tough one because he's on the move just a little bit right there, but I think he created that opportunity offensively to force that against them.
Really good officiating crew here in Dayton. Clarence Armstrong, Amy Bonner, Anthony Burris. Another corner three. And St. Francis suddenly getting a little hot from deep. It's Cranford, the hometown kid.
And we know a little bit about this game of basketball. If he just buried a three on the right side, don't you think they would scramble and make sure they find him? But they didn't. Good execution by St. Francis.
Young man who celebrated his birthday yesterday. Matlock long 2-0. And we're going to get a loose ball foul here against the Hornets.
Just want to make sure that you and John Rothstein, Spiro, realize that we had one media timeout already. We'll have 666 of them left in the tournament this year.
Just in case you're scoring at home. What beautiful dime underneath as they set the table to Pinedo. What an exquisite pass on the drive there by Sannon. Just checking into the game and quickly putting his imprint on this game for Rob Cribble and the red flash. 8 straight points for St. Francis. Hornets trying to get their offense recalibrated. Little floater that time. Won't go from Hines, the Atlanta product.
Another reach-in. Pinedo doing some good work on the defensive glass. Watch this little drop. You get the big guy to commit. Walker does just that. What you're trying to do there, Spiro, on that side of the court as you come down, a lot of people think of fast breaks. I got a 2-on-1, I got a 3-on-2, but what you're playing for right there within 5 feet of the basket is a 2-on-1 opportunity. So you come at the defender, force him to come at you, and then it's a 1-on-0, which is the best result you can get in basketball. It's a play-by-play guy's nightmare too, isn't it? The way they are, both of these teams will rifle in about 10 guys throughout the course of the evening, and they go in full court. Once again, the 3-guard look defensively right here, with Simpson being one of them.
St. Francis team that comes to Dayton, one game under 500, incredibly. Really turned their season around right around the beginning of February, and they have never looked back since. Nice defensive play on the interior, 4th turnover created, and then at the other end, the Hornets capitalized right at the cup. It's Deontay Bass getting his first 2 of the night.
He gets the first 2 because he ran down after making a defensive play. A lot of times you make that defensive play, it gives you a little extra energy, and he got down in a hurry. Boy,
little 2-man pick and roll action. Pinedo plus contact and a chance at 3. So both of these offenses now, Jimmy, starting to cook.
You see the defensive effort here right across it. Now watch him come right down the middle of the floor, basically. Just a little bit to our left looking at that. It gives you an angle as a guard to pass it to him. And they are really getting a lot of mileage out of this pick and roll with Pinedo. The reason why, Spiro, is that they're basically playing him away from the basket. So it's kind of like a 5-out offense they have. It allows him to drift around, slip to the basket, and no big defenders waiting for him because they're pulling him out of the floor.
So Pinedo, young man from Spain in his junior season, first year in the program after 2 years at East Carolina. And St. Francis suddenly, after some early jitters, Jim, have hit 7 of their last 9 shots from the field. It's an 11-2 run.
Yeah, I think they just look really comfortable. You know, what Alabama State really prides himself in is switching defenses a lot, so watch for that. They may come back with a zone. They do 2 threes.
This is Simpson. He hit earlier. A little bit short that time. The rebound corralled by Kelly. Young man from Pittsburgh, sophomore season. First year in the program after his freshman year at Quinnipiac last season. Jeremy Clayville has checked into the game for St. Francis. First time we've seen him, as has Aiden Harris. Of course, some unforced errors by the Red Flash, but so far so good. St. Francis, their offense starting to look fierce from deep. They got a 5-point lead early stages, True TV. 11 and change left before halftime. There's a score, 5-point lead for St. Francis. A couple of seconds ago, John with the head coach of Alabama State, Tony Matlock.
All right, Tony, how have they taken control of this game the last couple of minutes?
Just a lot of pregame jitters right now. Just not playing fast enough for us, playing too slow, so we'll speed it up right now.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right, John, year 3 for Matlock at Alabama State. His 2nd head coaching stop. 1 year at South Carolina State. Formerly on Andy Kennedy's staff at Ole Miss. Remember, he had those 5 games as the interim after Kennedy left that program back in 2018. But Memphis native, was on that incredible 1992 Elite 8 Memphis team with Penny Hardaway back in the day. So much basketball history in his family. Can he get the right buttons pushed to get this thing turned around now as the Hornets play down 5? There's 3 that time from Bass.
Yeah, when he spoke to John, I don't think he really meant that he was going to speed it up and take fast shots on offense. I think he's going to try to speed it up and switch defenses here as we get going in the next couple of minutes. We'll see if they do that. You see the little traps that they're trying to come up with quickly. Those are good hands.
Sannon, that was Ocon who got a hand in, and that's the 6th turnover that the Hornets have forced. And meantime, they turn it into some points. Sean Fulcher, a Brooklyn native in his junior season, quickly puts his imprint on this game.
Yeah, and right on what the coach wanted to do, too. Switch up some defenses, get active, watch for some double teams and traps. There's a high hedge out front, and there's a good close.
Well done. Couldn't quite handle the pass, but beautifully diagrammed and executed play, and the jump ball favors St. Francis. So Tony Matlock, what a moment for him in this program. Gradual progression, Jim, when you look at what they've done. 8 wins in his first season. Last year, 13 wins. And then finally this year, 19 wins. Their first NCAA tournament berth in 14 years.
And it was well designed defensively, and the execution offensively on that play was pretty good, too, until the last slip up in terms of trying to catch it.
Pinedo's had the hot hand. This is Parker. Well contested 2, and he's going to shoot free throws. Hard, aggressive close by Ubong Okan. And that'll put Riley Parker at the free throw line. A little bit of a grimace, Jim, as he got back onto his feet.
Yeah, you wonder why the big guys are jumping forward. You see him jump forward, and there's no place to come down. I think he gets him a little on the body spear, and I think he also gets him down by the feet. So an easy call.
So Riley Parker, the young man from Australia, playing a long way from home tonight. And Parker, you know, talking to Rob Krimmel and their staff yesterday, young man who's just embraced kind of the embodiment of the personality of this team. Small school, playing a long way from home. Krimmel told us he had never seen snow before, Jim, in his life.
Well, I've seen enough of it.
He's seen a whole lot of that the last year plus. So a 5-point lead for St. Francis. Beautiful looking stroke. That is Bass. So after the quiet start, Bass, a Savannah, Georgia product, makes it a 2-point game. Here comes Pinedo as they continue to work aggressively, Jim, to the basket.
And Bass is an interesting guy too, Spear. He didn't play a whole lot last year, but this year he's got the 34 games under his belt. Look at the score, look at the shoot from long range. We've seen him take the 2, one from the right side, one from the left side. This young man on the line, Pinedo, really very, very active so far.
Interesting team fouls as you start to look at the box score, Jim. 6 against Alabama State, just 1 so far against St. Francis. They're defending without fouling so far, the Red Flash.
Well, and I think part of that is with Alabama State changing their defenses a little bit. Coach wants them to get more involved, more active to speed up this game. So you're going to pick up a couple of extra fouls if you decide to do that.
This is Bass.
Good recognition that he just hit one from the other side.
Walker double team. They come over to help with Cranford. The kick, that's an open 3. Simpson. Second 3 from Micah Simpson. 1-point game.
And that's how you play it out of the post too, Spiro. If you're double teamed like that, use your pivot foot to be balanced and patient and make a good kick out.
Damar Kelly underneath, misses. Good help defense from Walker, and it's last touch by St. Francis.
And watch the patience down low right now. Double teamed, and then you just kick it out, relax, and then shoot one in stride.
Jim, one thing about Alabama State, you know, as gritty as they are, you know, so many of the good things that they do, one of the worst shooting teams in the country. As again, we show you where these teams sit in the baby brackets. Winner of this one advances to take on Auburn. The #1 overall seed in the field. Drive and kick outside. This is Walker, a little bit short. And the loose ball corralled by Parker. Up ahead they work quickly. Bobby Rosenberger, who's checked in, and that's a 3. Parker.
As you touched on, Rosenberger coming off the bench, giving them some good looks throughout the course of this year, but really active. Looks like a matchup defense right now. Sliding back is a man-to-man. We'll see what Rosenberger does. Yep, man-to-man.
So St. Francis's lead back to 4. As Amy Bonner blows the whistle, we get contact here. This will be only the second team foul against the Red Flash. It's on Kelly. That's his first.
Tony Madlock continues to use the substitutions. Generally brings in 2, sometimes 3 of the guards, the perimeter type players, to keep them fresh.
This is Simpson. Outside to Walker. A little bit of a bobble just as he rose to shoot.
That's just enough to throw your shot off too, but it's hard to pull that back when you're in mid-stroke like that. But it's always better to regather.
So we hit the 8-minute mark left in this first half. Parker, 2-man action. Beautiful setup, Pinedo, and he's got 11.
Until Alabama State figures that out defensively, I would keep going back to that well as much as I possibly could. It's just way too easy offensively the way they're executing St. Francis.
So Pinedo already has exceeded his season average, and that's a 3. Tyler Mack. 39% three-point shooter on the season, first year in the program after playing at Maryland Eastern Shore.
off a scoreless game, so good to see him get on track a little bit.
Rosenberger down to Pinedo. Cranford trying to fend off Simpson, taking on contact as Walker came over to help. And Cranford's going to shoot free throws when we come back.
So the leader on this team, Riley Parker, from long range. And then a nice little slip cut. That's the one that's been working for them early in this game. Keep going back to it.
All right, here with Rob Krimmel. Why is your team so poised against their pressure?
I think we need to do a better job against it. We're turning the ball over way too much and giving them free runs at the basket. We take care of the basketball and get a great shot. We have a much better job of setting our defense. But, you know, we got the jitters out early. A few turnovers. I think they had 10 of their first 12 off of our turnovers, and we've settled in. But it'll be an important key for us moving forward.
Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, John.
All right, John, what a moment for Rob Krimmel, who is approaching his 30th year at St. Francis. No single person embodies the school and this program more than him. He showed up as an underclassman, as a young, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed freshman in 1996, and Jim has never left since. 4 years as a guard for the school. Next year, he was hired by the head coach, Bobby Jones, to be an assistant coach. And there's his father, Bob Sr., longtime member of the athletic department at Penn State. Eventually left to become the AD at St. Francis. It was Bob Sr. who actually hired Rob in 2012 to become the head coach. Just an amazing story. His wife Aileen and their two boys here as well.
And Rob said he wasn't sure whether he wanted to get into coaching.
Said he planned maybe to coach for a year, eventually go to law school.
Things change, huh?
The rest is history. His sons Alex and Thomas with their mom Aileen. What a moment for the Krimmel family. That's a step back three from Hines off the back rim, and the rebound corralled by Parker.
And Madlock almost got a hand. He had a hand on the ball, not enough to trigger that on the offensive glass.
This is Cranford underneath Pinedo. He's been the catalyst so far. On the box, and it's going to be a hook.
Yeah, good call, Spiro. That right arm drifted out as he was going to the middle of the floor.
That'll be Pinedo's first.
Watch it, Spiro. It's a kind of not only an extension, but also a little mini wraparound to give himself an advantage.
He used to do that move on the park out in Jersey City as a kid. I know you.
I'll tell you one thing. If you and I could both see that hook over here, I know the officials are going to catch it.
4-point lead for St. Francis. Tough catch for Madlock in the corner.
Yeah, how about the catch and then drive by occasionally?
Oh boy, Bass starting to cook. So Deontay Bass, 3 field goals. And look at the points off turnovers now. Starting to become a story here for Alabama State.
And don't think I didn't catch what you did with that bass. You're cooking the bass, huh? You fish lover.
This is Cranford trying to chisel his way inside against Madlock, who holds his own well defensively. And the red flash come up empty.
And as you touched on, starting to push and look for quick ones. See if he can get it. Yep.
Bass trying to save, but he stepped out of bounds underneath. And with 5:40 left in the half.
Trying to wear you out defensively, Alabama State, with the rotation of players and the pressure.
Parker straightaway 3, a little bit short.
Yeah, pretty good recovery by Hines. He was late getting around.
Madlock stops on a dime. Little transition attempt, and that's short.
Oh, look at the hands here.
Simpson trying to create the steal, and he does. Boy, Bass is going to cough it.
Unbelievable.
Frustration for Alabama State.
2 problems for Alabama State just then. This was very close after the deflection. They were about a second and a half away from a 10-second violation. That's why he just flipped that ball towards half court. And then the bobble, you don't get the dunk on the play going down.
Let's check in with John.
All right, well, Spiro, you know, one thing Tony Madlock told me before the game, he felt like accelerating the tempo was going to be a major X factor, and it shows the last couple of games. Alabama State with 29 steals during those last 3 games, Spiro.
And John, it just speaks, and Jim, it just speaks to the challenges of preparing and such a quick turnaround for these teams. So much unfamiliarity as Parker knocks it down with contact.
This time the guard is jumping out of guard, and you must let him land. And let's see what happens when he comes across the pull-up jumper. Yeah, you look. All you need to do is look at the feet down below, and they get tangled. You don't even have to worry about whether he hits them up top. And he gets them just a touch down below. Another good call from the officials.
So Micah Simpson whistled. But you got the emotions, you're riding high, Selection Sunday, you get your assignment, Jim, and basically 24 hours before you have to get on an airplane.
Whoa!
Preparing for these teams. Hard collision with Madlock running right into Kelly. And that'll be the 4th team foul against St. Francis.
This is, couldn't get that crossover going pretty quickly just then. Kelly tried to jump up to the right side. He caught it quickly enough, but didn't get the basketball, picks up the foul.
So that's the 2nd against Kelly. And Rob Krimmel is going to sit him down here at the 4:39 mark of the first half. Good hard fake. Fire from 3, and C.J. Hines just hasn't been able to shoot straight.
Can't get the rhythm. He's a 39% three-point shooter, too, so he's getting looks, but he's just not comfortable getting his feet underneath him.
This is Cranford. That's a 3.
Now, he's a guy who's been comfortable shooting the basketball, getting his feet underneath him. What a year he's had.
True freshman, 4th ever to win the NEC Newcomer of the Year and the MVP of their conference tournament in the same season. 3-pointer from Bass as we hit the 4-minute mark before halftime.
Bass not shy, huh? He gets a split second. He's taking that shot.
This is Moncrief, rattles out from deep, and Bass clears.
Get the balance, though, for St. Francis right now. 3 or 4 guys back. Good skip pass. But the balance is back. They didn't have the opportunity. I'd like to see Alabama State go from side to side and put it on the floor against somebody.
This is Bass. He's had the hot hand, a little bit off to the right. And Alabama State now from 3, 6 of 17 for the half. And last touched out of bounds by the Hornets. Oh, the emotions of March. Beautiful day in Dayton. Let's get you our game summary. 3:26 before halftime. 6 points, St. Francis lead. The points off turnovers. That has been the story of the game so far for the Hornets. 15 points off of the 8 red flash turnovers. Jim, what have you seen here the last couple of minutes?
Yeah, what I'm seeing, Spiro, is that St. Francis in the scouting report does a great job of contesting the three-point shot, and that's why we're looking at a 6 or 17 number for Alabama State.
Hornets have not gone to the free throw line, as you just saw on that game summary graphic. Underneath out of bounds here. Parker will throw in.
Look at a strong double team. They do that to the sidelines once in a while. Good defensive switch, but a good reaction to get out of it offensively. Here's that 2-man game out front again.
Moncrief really changed the dynamic of this team the last 10 games when he was inserted into the starting lineup, as this is going to put now the red flash in a 1-and-1 situation. Bonus here with Alabama State over the limit with Tony Madlock.
Picking it up in the traffic. His son picking one up right in the middle of the lane just then. Good activity by Moncrief to bring it to the middle of the floor.
So second personal on TJ Madlock to put Chris Moncrief at the free throw line. When you just consider, where this St. Francis team was about a month ago, really sputtering. Lineup change as Rob Krimmel inserted Moncrief into the starting lineup. And really one of the things that changed this team and led them on this current 6-game winning streak.
Go hard to the basket.
Transition try. What a play. The hands inside by Sannon. Clean strip to thwart that Hornets fast break.
Because they were off to the races right here. You have to tuck this one behind you a little bit. Maybe a touch on the left arm just then, too.
Octave complaining, no call. Inbound to Hines, going to get him reset. This is Octave, he's going to fire. Off the back rim, tracked down in the corner by Walker. Out of Hines, probing underneath, looked like a kick. It will be Hornets basketball nonetheless, Jim, but they will not reset. It's 10 seconds to shoot. So down to 2:49 left in this first half, with St. Francis holding a 7-point lead. Two schools that come to Dayton looking for what would be their first ever NCAA tournament victory. A little bit of contact.
Sure
no
was.
whistle.
5 seconds on the shot clock.
Madlock stops and hits.
It's usually the shot a guard will hit like that, Spiro. When you come to the lane, you lose your balance just a touch, and then plant that left foot if you're a right-handed shooter. Nice steal here out front.
Octave on the push. Moncrief got a fingertip on it. Boy, the fight and the effort from these two teams just off the charts. And St. Francis is going to get it back.
See the way he regrouped just then to get the strength, and here's the defense. Defensively on Alabama State's side, but how about the recovery? We've seen it twice on fast breaks already for St. Francis getting back to save buckets.
Shannon top of the key into the corner to Parker. They're going to get him reset as we come up on the final 2 minutes before the intermission. A little bit of a bobble from Cranford, recovers. 7 to shoot. Shannon bodied up. Cranford deep shot, splash!
Oh, baby. I thought he owned the real estate on the right side of the floor, but I guess he owns some real estate over there, too.
38% three-point shooter on the season, and he still hasn't missed from deep. What a half for the hometown kid, and what an answer at the other end. A magical finish by Knox, up and under on the reverse.
And that's what I'd like to see Alabama State do a little bit more of. Instead of relying on that three-point shot, which I know they shoot a whole bunch of them, put something on the deck and make it happen going to the basket.
So both teams now starting to kick it into high gear. 1:15 left before half. Parker, corner three. That's good.
They work the shot clock, they work the spacing of the floor, and they generally get good shots. Remember that interview that John Rothstein had with the coach about 8 minutes ago? Don't turn it over, it will be okay.
Boy, just a beautiful under control move and finish by Knox.
He's had 9 20-point games this year, Spiro, so scoring is not unfamiliar to him.
Averages better than 14 points per game. All SWAC first team. Young man who's in the program for the 3rd season. Moncrief.
Nice ball movement.
This is Cranford.
Oh, that looked good,
and
too.
It's a rare miss. Where they rip it back. Shannon, Jim, has been all over the place. But we're going to get a transition foul against St. Francis. They'll had a couple to give. A reminder to stay tuned. AT&T at the half. Adam Lefkoe, Jay Wright, Jalen Rose, Seth Davis standing by from our Atlanta studios to get your first half analysis of what we are seeing here in Dayton. 7-point red flash lead. Final seconds, first half. Well, the psychology of a head coach and what is a pressure cooker of a moment for Tony Madlock and his program. Jim, obviously not pleased with what he saw in that last sequence.
There's a benefit to sitting over here, Spiro, without having a coach yell at you like that, but he missed an assignment in the corner with the outside shot. Keep in mind now, too, with 5 fouls for St. Francis, they can almost play this like they do at the end of a game, Spiro. Think about what you want to do. You know, Alabama State probably going to hold on to the ball. I would tell them to make an effort to make some action going towards the basket if St. Francis is going to pick up a foul here. Let's see what they do.
Alabama State has not attempted a free throw so far in this game. St. Francis has committed only 5 team fouls. It's tremendous defensive half for them.
Yeah, see, the way this clock is going down, they may very well give a foul right now. Let's see if they do. Yep, there they come.
There's Clayville to take it with 6.3 seconds left.
Spiro, that's why I say as an offensive team right there, I know you're waiting for the last shot, but you got to almost pretend like you're taking it at somebody to go to the basket to force them to foul earlier than 6 seconds on the clock.
Inbound quickly. This is Madlock. 3. He'll shoot, and he sticks it. Boy, that's a vet play from the senior coach's son trying to get his school into that first-round matchup against Auburn.
Executed both defensively. They did a good job getting the shot clock to 6 seconds, but how about Madlock making a strong decision just then to handle the basketball, the pull-up jumper to cut this game to a 5-point lead for St. Francis.
John Rothstein standing by with Ron Cranford.
All right, Juan, how do you guys have a lead right now?
What you say here?
How do you guys have a lead right now?
You know, just playing hard, do what we do, and just staying with the scout report. Just staying what we do.
What is it like for you as a Dayton native to play here in a game of this magnitude?
Man, it's everything to me, man. It's a blessing, honestly. Like, I can't even believe it's true still, man. I mean, I can't ask for nothing else. I mean, it's a blessing, honestly.
All right, thanks. Have a good second half. Spiro.
All right, John, boy, the young man performed in front of family and friends in the biggest moment of his basketball life. We'll get you to our Atlanta studios for AT&T at the half. After these messages, you're watching the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship. Back with you in Dayton, just about ready for the start of the second half. St. Francis and Alabama State as we take a look at our first half stats built by the Home Depot. Jim, just a highly efficient first half for St. Francis. They shoot it at nearly 60%. They were 50% from three, and they committed only 6 team fouls. As we welcome you back courtside, Spiro Adidas, Jim Spinarco. We'll hear from John Rothstein in just a second. What did you see? What do we expect second half?
The negative for St. Francis after the positives that you just mentioned, the 9 turnovers. They average about 13, so that's not a good number for them. On the other side, I know that Alabama State averages 33% from the three-point stripe. That's right what they're doing now, 6 of 18 from the 3. I would say to them, without any free throws right now, that they haven't gone to the line, you got to start pushing this ball in and then kicking it out for a rhythm 3. But you got to get to that free throw line and drive it a little bit.
All right, just about ready for the final 20 minutes. Let's check in with John.
All right, Spiro, as usual, Jimmy is all over it. Rob Krimmel just told me that he's very, very disappointed with the turnovers for St. Francis. He stressed to his team the need to take better care of the basketball. He also felt they were gambling too much on defense. Those were 2 big areas he hit on at the half. Meanwhile, Tony Madlock still wants to accelerate the pace. He also feels that Alabama State needs to be more aggressive on offense to set its defense and pressure St. Francis, Spiro.
All right, John, how do the Hornets respond here as they begin the second half down 5 points? Everything that, Madlock was displeased with, only down 5 points, Jim, with after a half that they did not play efficiently offensively.
And interesting enough, too, Spiro, right there, maybe not driving it to the basket, but looking to pop that down deep and post up Madlock down on the blocks. Let's see if they try to get that ball a little closer to the basket.
Foul was charged to Riley Parker, his second. Only the 7th whistle against St. Francis, their first team foul here. Opening seconds of the half, it's Parker.
Not a good decision, too.
Picking C.J. Hines' pocket. Here comes Kelly. Traveling violation.
Can't do that, right? He tried to put the brakes on, Kelly did, but then just at the last second, there was a little hop on the trail foot.
Told you about these 2 programs, small schools coming to Dayton with big dreams. 5th all-time appearance for Alabama State, their first time dancing in 14 years.
A little motion away from the ball right now. Better than we saw in the first half. Yep, there you go.
Boy, they'd love to get him going. C.J. Hines, the Atlanta product, gets the Hornets a little bit closer. Told you how hot he has been, Jim, over the last few weeks.
Yeah, coming off 20 points, too, in the last game they had against Jackson State, where he was 8 for 15. I like that decision. I think you're going to see in the first 5 minutes here Alabama State's difference in terms of going to the basket. Whoa, just missed the steal.
Offensive rebound, Moncrief gets it back. Pinedo, the kick, excellent ball movement. This is Kelly, corner pocket 3.
And the best part of that to me, Spiro, was that Cranford, who really shot the ball well in the first half, turned down maybe a little bit of a forced 3-point shot. Good decision by him. Keep the ball moving around the perimeter.
Second basket for Kelly. And St. Francis, told you about their 3-point prowess. Boy, what a maneuver underneath Knox with some inside magic. He's got 8.
Yeah, if they can get Knox going, if they can get Hines, both of them averaging 14 points on the season. Hines is the more of the go-to guy, but both of them can put up numbers. Nice double team. That's going to stay here with St. Francis. It's off Walker. So here's the ball moving right down to the middle, getting in the middle there, and here's that extra kick to the right side. Good decision just then.
So Parker the inbounds for St. Francis team that is in the dance for only the second time ever. What a pass. Moncrief dropping a dime to Pinedo underneath.
Yeah, and interesting enough, Spiro, that was a pick and roll with Riley Parker involved with it, so it was the second pass that made that happen.
2.5 gone by. Good seal on the baseline. Kelly knocked it loose. Last touch by the Red Flash. And .com or in the March Madness Live app. Great to have you with us. Dayton, Ohio. Spiro Adidas, Jim Spinarkle, John Rothstein. Under 5 seconds to shoot. Little scoop underneath, that time by Knox. Jim just trying to make something happen with the shot clock winding down.
We've seen a couple of possessions already with Alabama State trying to change their method of how they're going to play this first 5 minutes. Tony Madlock talking to his team at the half saying, we got to figure out a way to get this thing going to the basket. We're not going to win this game. I think it was Seth Davis who said it at the half. We're not going to win this game unless we get some free throws on the board.
Yeah, really, that was the difference in the first half. 7 8 attempted free throws for the Red Flash, none by Alabama State.
Yeah, 1-3-1 look right now. Watch for the corners and the slip cuts. Got to keep the ball active, though.
Cranford picks up the dribble, going to get it to Kelly in the corner. Kelly on the attack, the floater, just perfect. 8-point Red Flash lead.
Cranford with a good decision right there after that double team. 1-3-1, you think about it. The one guy in the back can't cover that much ground going from corner to corner. Nice execution just then by St. Francis.
This is Hines, a little bit too much. Boy, nice little step back. That's just Stephen Walker underneath.
Yeah, they missed him on that cut to the basket. He was open first on that little pick and roll to the basket.
So just under 4 minutes gone by, second half. St. Francis and Alabama State, two small schools coming to Dayton. With both of these programs looking for their first ever win in the dance. Moncrief going glass, no. And the rebound underneath by Walker.
They're switching the defenses just like Coach Madlock told us. They're going to throw a lot of different tricks at you. That was a 2-3 zone, but you can drive by that zone.
Step back three, a little bit short from Knox. And it's last touched by the Hornets.
Well, we've got a tight one right now. Making things happen using that corner against the zone. Good work with the floater. Tough shot, too.
Well, you imagine Juan Cranford, first ever taste of the dance, and he's playing Jimmy in his hometown. Incredible.
Yeah, just a real smooth operator so far in terms of shooting the basketball. Right side to start, he switches over to the left. They can't find him again, burying the threes. Keep in mind that St. Francis is doing a good job with 3 guys in double figures already.
There's Juan's mom, Brittany, left of your picture. Juan Sr. seated to her left.
Oh boy, here we go.
There's the theft. Knox on the intercept, misses, and then the tip in by Octave.
Great work, nice switch up coming out with some full court action just then. After the timeout, look at this aggressive play here, Spiro.
Where you just can't overstate the feistiness of Tony Madlock's Hornets team. Moncrief underneath.
Pull the trigger on it. It's the difference between having a big guy, a 7-footer down there. Ocon just standing there, didn't make an effort.
Madlock pulls up, back of the rim, and then it's last touched by St. Francis.
There's that hard double team, worst place to go. Into that corner just then. You're all by yourself. Good work there, though, by Knox to finish it off.
So the Hornets reset. They're working on the wing to Madlock. Now into the corner. Octave.
See, that's the three-point shot that I don't like. I know they do shoot that ball, but it's kind of like settling three-pointer. Oh, there's a grab.
They're going to get Madlock on a reach in. That'll put Pinedo at the free throw line, Jim. And they've gotten that. You know, St. Francis, the ability to break down this defense. That'll put Pinedo at the free throw line with 14:52 left in this second half.
Yeah, where they're getting the mileage out of going to the basket like that, that's exactly what Alabama State should try to do a little bit more, because now all of a sudden the free throws, 8 of 11 from the free throw line for St. Francis, and just not much happening at all for Alabama State.
It's interesting, we started the day talking about St. Francis not getting to the free throw line, but
yeah,
it's been the case for Alabama State so far in this game. Winner of this one again, moving on to take on the #1 overall seed, the Auburn Tigers, as they wait in Lexington, Kentucky. Madlock, good ball movement into the corner. This is on the dribble drive. Hines, no.
that's a strong rebound in there. Somebody's swiping at him too from behind.
Ocon working hard off the offensive glass.
But you see the offensive set they just got out of this, because they're moving the ball left to right. It comes back. And now you're in position because you've challenged the big guy underneath, and that allows Ocon to go on the glass at 7-1 and ends up getting fouled.
That's the third personal against Riley Parker, and the second team foul against St. Francis. Deontay Bass is checked into the game, picks up the dribble against Moncrief, and now they get him reset to Knox. Knox against Kelly, tough defender. Here he comes, chiseling his way to the cup.
Clearly that adjustment has taken effect at that halftime break for Tony Madlock and his team. They're not going to the line, they're not getting fouled, but they are doing it with the little layups that really drives to the basket. I love the strategy change on the fly.
Two really talented coaches, smart coaches, leading their teams into the dance. As the chess match continues, Tony Madlock, Alabama State, Rob Cribble, and St. Francis.
Actually moved down to the middle of the floor once again. What he's doing here is he's reading, and nobody really steps into that lane for him from either side of the floor for St. Francis. That was a bit of breakdown.
Cranford, boy, pretty spin. Kelly, the rebound, gets it to Pinedo for the finish.
What a great play to make that decision by Kelly. Recognize that Pinedo was just wide open from about 8 feet away. Good recognition and a bucket they needed, because you're starting to see some bounce in Alabama State collectively. They just seem a little bit more confident to me than they did in the first half, because they're putting it on the floor and challenging.
Boy, Knox taking some contact.
It could have been an N1 just then, a little body bump that he kind of tried to trigger.
So Knox now starting to catch some fire into double digits with 12, 6 of which have come since halftime.
There's that bounce pass. Good play defensively.
That pick and roll action that St. Francis has used so efficiently. Look at Pinedo. They get him at the rim. Bass.
Woo, 2 guys on him. Bass and Ocon double teaming it. Here we go again, right to the hoop.
Knox trying to break down Moncrief.
You can live with that shot, though. They can hit the floaters. They can hit the driving layups.
St. Francis working quickly. Cranford on the box. Backing down against Haynes. The leaner, no. Pinedo a chance, and they come up empty.
That Bass over there, he's real active. Watch him. He shot a couple of quick threes. Whoa, watch out.
Hines turned back.
Now's the time, Spiro, as you're driving. If they react to that and they start closing in on you, you have to find that right corner just then. That's not going to happen with 2 guys closing. Much better job to close down and wall up from St. Francis's perspective. Still got to keep doing that, but now's the time where you got to kick that out, and guys like Bass has to be ready to shoot his shot.
Kelly and Moncrief walling up on the interior of that defense. Catch and shoot. This is Simpson, and he buries another 3.
Beautiful execution, too. Drive, but then that was no drive there. St. Francis just kind of squeezed the middle of the floor, leaving that out with a couple of screens away.
Third 3 of the night from Micah Simpson, the junior out of Morristown, Tennessee. And just like that, we got a 1-point game here in Dayton.
And St. Francis tightening up just a touch right here. Not as confident.
Moncrief, the crossover, the mid-range J, short.
There's bounce. Alabama State has the bounce right now. There's that kick-out spirit I was talking about.
Simpson.
Whoa.
And we'll get a loose ball foul here again. Sannon underneath. Hornets starting to play with some fire in their bellies.
Well, we've got a tight one right now because Alabama State has decided to switch it up a little bit. Boy, they have some confidence.
Dusk on a beautiful night as Alabama State starting to throw some punches, led by Amar Knox now to double-digit scoring.
Yeah, look where they're throwing those punches in, too. They're coming into the basket. Only 4 of their 17 shots have been threes in this second half, and he's really led the charge in terms of putting his body out there and making things happen.
So again, Alabama State, as Knox is going to catch a breather here, have to imagine a quick rest. Hornets have not attempted a free throw in this game if you've just joined us.
That's wild, isn't it?
They have only led for a grand total of 2 minutes and 47 seconds. They got a chance to take the lead right here, but
I think it was
a turnover.
I think Ocon moving. You see right there?
That's an illegal pick.
Yeah,
You're right.
He's squeezing, he's sliding in at the same time. Whoa.
So Ocon, his third.
It's going to stay this way here with Bass. Good effort by him, but just could not keep his feet from going onto the sideline. There's some activity. There's real good activity defensively. Take a look at the time.
St. Francis has not scored a point in more than 2 minutes, as Alabama State has tightened up the clamps with its defense. Again, our officiating crew here: Clarence Armstrong, Amy Bonner, Anthony Burris. First of 2 here tonight in Dayton, with the big one coming up later. San Diego State, North Carolina. This place starting to fill to capacity. Officials we're told are discussing the shot clock here, Jim. Right now it shows 2.5 seconds. This is going to put some more time back on the clock here.
How does that work? 2.5. Now, if they were down the other end, I'd probably say, yes, that could work. You got to get it open quickly. That's a good move right there.
This is Moncrief now going to get a reset to Sannon.
Look at the pressure, though. Real good activity out in the perimeter right now. Look for that backdoor cut.
Hornets defending with a lot more energy here. Shot clock down to 5. This is Clayville. He will hoist, and he buries it.
A good three-point shooter, no question about that, at 39%, but there was a touch of panic to get that shot off, but he delivered.
Told you about St. Francis, upper 35 percentile in the country in made threes.
Ocon just put his head down. He didn't know the ball was coming his way.
Sannon on the attack, lays it in.
Here they come in a hurry the other way. Pretty good wall up defensively, too, just then.
So quick little 5-0 burst. This is Simpson short. Offensive rebound, Bass. Madlock, this will be a push. It's on Sannon. That'll be the 4th against St. Francis.
He was being tracked in the front of him. He was being tracked on the side of him, and he still got that off in a hurry. Here's that big wall up right there, pretty well defended, and he finishes it off on that drive with some thrust to the basket.
St. Francis Red Flash, coached by Rob Cribble. Told you about his story, approaching his 30th year at the university. Located in central PA, Loretto, Pennsylvania.
A little bit of
Northeast Conference.
A little bit of shift, Spiro, in the momentum right now. St. Francis leaning with some positives. Let's see if Alabama State can get something going here to come back at him. That's a little grab there, I think, isn't it?
Boy, the Hornets going to get bailed out. Sean Fulcher looked like he was just about to lose his balance.
Yeah, but before that, I think, Spiro, watch the hands of number 7, Clayville. Does he come out and get him right there? I think he does beforehand.
Jim, you know me. I never argue when it comes to officiating. You made your statement.
And I'm going to live by it.
6-point St. Francis lead. We come up on the midway point of the second half.
There he is.
Into the corner. This is Bass, just a little bit short from deep. Bass had the hot hand in the first half. He's now cooled off a little bit. Now 2 of 6 from 3.
See a little bit with the dribbling by St. Francis, too. They're dribbling it once they get it going with a purpose to go by somebody.
Riley Parker, the three-point sharpshooter. Pinedo into the corner. This is Clayville, short.
Good no call. 2 guys working for the glass.
Hines on the push to the rim. They got him. Parker outside. Fulcher. Fulcher's going to fire, and he sticks it.
I like the way he's turned down his first shot, too. That would have been a quick shot in that sequence. I know you get a lot of good shots off of offensive rebounds. That would have been a forced quick shot. He patiently takes a better shot.
Here comes Pinedo wielding to the basket, couldn't finish.
He did the same thing to start this game. He had a great drive to the basket, but couldn't finish it on a layup.
Bass was calling for it.
I think he feels it. Yeah, he's feeling it, Spiro, because 2 of his shots, left and right corners, looked good and felt good to him. Watch this little step across right there, the patience, and then you can attack. Don't shoot it because you think you have to. Here's the fouling action. Yep. Guy right across the head.
4th personal against Ocon, so he sits. And just Stephen Walker now checks back in for Tony Madlock and Alabama State. 9:02 left in regulation. And we got a 3-point game here in Dayton.
So now it's with him not on the floor, it's more size on the floor in terms of the quickness, smaller team for Alabama State. Let's see if they try to trap a little bit. They're trying to pick it up defensively too. Speed you up a little bit. Whoa, that was a bump. Yep, good call from the official. I think it was Simpson along the baseline on the right side. I think it was half body and half leg and bump. Yeah, he got him with his left leg right across. That's a good call.
So 2nd personal on Simpson. 5 team fouls both sides. 8:50 left to play. This is Clayville, steps back, and the rebound pulled by Walker.
He shoots it at 39%. That's why you're seeing him. They set plays up for him coming off the out of bounds.
C.J. Hines, can he get his game going? Look at Parker. Boy, he's made some really instinctual defensive plays today. Young man who's known for that 3-point stroke. This is Cranford on a 3.
Who's going to get it? Oh, watch out.
Bodies flying all over the place.
Still flying.
Simpson lost the handle.
Alabama State has them playing the way they want. They're going to go with the frenetic pace right now. Now they're going to pull it out and settle it.
Fulcher's going to get him reset. The young man out of Brooklyn, New York, University of Buffalo transfer. Boy, what vision inside gets it to Walker.
Vision is the right word too, Spiro, because I don't know how he found them underneath there at the baseline with 2 guys squeezing in on him.
1-point game as we are inside of the 8-minute mark. And you see the drought now for the Red Flash. Can they get their offense recalibrated? This is Cranford.
Look at the reaction on the perimeter. Not here, though. Wow, not hitting the open shots that they're getting. That was a good look for Parker. Shoots it at 40% from 3, Spiro, so that's one they needed to go down.
Parker tonight 2 of 6 from 3. And that clock running with Fulcher now the orchestrator for the Hornets. Gets a high Walker screen. He's going to pull.
Look up, you get a layup if you hurry.
Clayville open, underneath, and flicks it up and in.
Great look from the backcourt just then. Really good look and a good run out by Clayville. Once he recognized they were going to get the ball, you take off the half court. If you win the race to half court, you're going to get a layup out of it sooner or later. Looks like in this game, every point's going to matter. The ball is back here, and look at Clayville over here. He sees that his team has possession. He runs down the floor, a nice little fake, and he just kind of flips it up softly to get to 2. There's a song in there somewhere, probably.
John, you were eavesdropping in on Tony Madlock's timeout huddle with Alabama State. What'd you hear?
Yes, Spiro. Tony Madlock just told his team, guys, we can't give up layups. None of you guys ran back. We have to be smarter than that, guys. Let's get back on defense. We're fine right now. We're only down 3 points, but we have to get back. We can't give up easy layups, Spiro.
Yeah, you know what, John? Sometimes as a player, you learn to cheat and anticipate And I'm not so sure anybody was going to beat him down defensively on that one because he cheated to half court.
Knox the driving kick to Bass. Now to Simpson. Time now down to 8 seconds. Guarded by Parker. 5 to shoot. Simpson inside. Kelly got a fingertip on it. Boy, both teams dialing up their defense. Shot clock now down to 1.3. And a side out of bounds deep in that corner for the Hornets when we come back. Which of these two teams gonna will themselves over the finish line here in Dayton? And boy, if you're worried that the bright lights would be too bright for Valentino Pinedo, think again, he's been terrific.
He really has been. He started this game on a little bit of a run with the cuts to the basket, and he continued it here in the second half. So good overall game for him, both halves.
Jimmy, 1.3 to shoot, so the Hornets have to work quickly here deep in the corner. This is a pull-up 3, no good from Walker. The putback, Madlock.
So what happens there, Spiro, is to your point, right? It's a quick look, and guess what? We're not the only two guys thinking it's going to be a quick shot. His teammates knew it was going to be a quick shot, and a couple of them ran right to the bucket to try to get an offensive possession.
Into the corner to Parker.
It's getting a little more difficult for St. Francis to get these open shots now.
Hornets have really extended their defense. Baseline J. Riley Parker, massive shot.
Sure was. A poised shot, I would call that, too, because there was a little bumping and grinding going over there.
Australian national getting his first taste of the big dance, and he's given the red flash a 3-point lead. There comes Madlock, the senior leader of this Alabama State team. A little bit short on the floater, and it's last touched by the Hornets.
Yeah, that could have been a fast layup on the follow-up just then. Watch this little bit of bumping along the baseline. Might have been an extension there. It's hard to see that with the traffic from our angle. Yeah, but that's an offensive foul that got uncalled.
And Sean Fulcher had a good argument trying to beat Parker to the spot as those two continue to battle into the night here in Dayton.
Yeah, they're going over the screens as hard as they can now defensively.
St. Francis working it underneath to Moncrief, and he's going to shoot free throws. Rob Krimmel, former guard, 12 years as an assistant at his alma mater. Hired as the head coach by his father, Bob Sr., who is in the house tonight. Just can't imagine the emotions of a father watching his son in this kind of a moment. Can he get St. Francis their first ever win in the dance?
Yeah, 60% free throw shooter too. Moncrief at the line. Alabama State has to be ready to box out. That was a little long and hard, that first one. But St. Francis is winning this at the free throw line. There's no question about that with their points.
Again, it was Bob Sr. who hired Rob as the head coach. Remember, Sr., all those years at Penn State in the athletic department, left to become the AD at St. Francis, hiring Rob in 2012.
What a great career he had, but nothing more stressful than this.
Madlock taking contact.
Finally, they show a little different look just then. They go to the elbow, and instead of driving it to the basket, watch this quick release right here. They think they're coming up, and basically Cranford tried to cheat because he thought he was going to go over the screen. And guess what, Spiro? We have a free throw.
First free throw for the Hornets at the 5:09 mark. And there's TJ's mom. Stacy Madlock can barely bear to watch.
Is it too early to say that you love March Madness?
Boy, it's hard enough you're watching a child. You're also the coach's wife. My goodness.
Don't want any part of that. Here comes some full court action again.
So 5 and change left. And here we go in a 1-point game. Parker brings it over the timeline.
So they started as a 2-2-1 full court. Now they switch back to a 2-3 to force somebody to shoot the ball.
Cranford, the hometown kid, missed it.
Great play, though, to get the hands on the ball and release it on the offensive rebound.
Parker into the corner to Kelly.
Oh,
turnover.
Yeah, you see Kelly was going towards the middle of the floor just then, and he was trying to get it back to the left side into the corner, and just not enough strength on that right-handed flip back to the corner.
Again, we told you about the winner here Moving on to Lexington, Kentucky, where they will take on the #1 overall seed in the field, the Auburn Tigers, in a game that'll tip off just before 3 o'clock Eastern on Thursday afternoon.
Remember John Rothstein's interview with Rob Krimmel about at halftime, we don't want to turn the basketball over.
Hines hits maybe the biggest shot of his life to put Alabama State in the lead.
And now they'll switch up. Let's see what they come back with defensively. Looks like, yep, it's at least a 2-3. It might be a matchup right now. So St. Francis has to recognize this and run their man-to-man sets at it. Nice work on the bait, keeping it active. Good job.
Near side, Kelly. Three-pointer short.
Yeah, not a bad set, though, for St. Francis. The legs are getting a little weary, though, in that jumper.
Here comes Knox, contact, and he's going to shoot.
And we're going to get a flurry of free throw attempts here for Alabama State.
So the Hornets, their first lead since the 15-minute mark of the first half. This gritty team from Montgomery, Alabama, in front on True TV. And now the tense moments for the wives of these two head coaches, Aileen Krimmel and Stacy Madlock. Let's check in with John.
All right, Spiro. Well, Rob Krimmel just told his team, guys, we got to be poised. We have to rebound. We can't give them second shots right now. Let's be poised. Let's take care of the glass, Spiro.
Who can push the right buttons here, Jimmy, down the stretch? So if you've just hopped on with us, Alabama State didn't attempt their first free throw until just a couple of minutes ago. Amar Knox at the free throw line. Hornets have outscored St. Francis in the second half, 28-21.
Wow.
And he missed both.
78% free throw shooter, too.
Jimmy, you start to tense up a little bit in this kind of a moment.
Yeah, but they're kids, Spear. You like to play. Go after it. Just be aggressive with the ball. If you make a mistake, so be it. But make an aggressive mistake. Don't back your way into a mistake.
This is Damar Kelly. Probing, shot clock down to 3. He's got to hurry.
He's got to go right here.
Moncrief, the reach in, and they don't get a shot off in time.
Beautiful recognition by Alabama State just then. Not on their side, though, at St. Francis. Watch the three guys collapse and close in, knowing the shot clock was in their favor.
Just consider where this Alabama State team was late January. They sat at 9-14, 5 games under 500 before they completely transformed their season. Won 10 of their final 11 to close the regular season and ran through the SWAC tournament to earn their trip here to Dayton in the first 4. Off the floor come the red flags. This is Parker.
Yeah, got to pull that one back out. A little shaky with that pass coming across. Good recovery there by Parker. So they're setting that high screen pretty far out on the floor, too. They're not getting that mileage for the slip cut.
Cranford hounded by Octave, 7 to shoot. Cranford turns the corner, high off glass.
Boy, has he ever had a great game here in his hometown.
Well, that young man playing with some ice water in his veins. Money on the table. One of the biggest possessions of the season, and he's tied this game for St. Francis.
They're looking to drive that ball again. Watch this.
Miracle shot.
Where did that come from?
Amar Knox with a little March magic. Riley Parker picks up the dribble down to Moncrief, forcing his way, lost it. Octave.
Tough break for Moncrief just then, losing the ball there, and off they go to the races. Nobody even close to half court on the balance of the offense. Alabama State up 4 right now, and here's kind of one of those magical miracle type shots that we see. in March. Look at where that thing came from, falling out of bounds basically, and here's the steal. Nice little strip, and Octave goes down the other way to finish this one off. Let's see what St. Francis comes out with here, Spiro. They've had Pinedo involved with some screens and slip cuts and then kickouts. But if they're going to do that, I think Pinedo has to set the screens a little closer to the three-point line. Like getting there. There you go. That's better.
Crawford dials it up from deep.
Much better there because he set the screen, not 4 or 5 feet out further, but set it up closer to the three-point line. Gives your shooter the range to make a shot.
St. Francis had scored just 7 points in the last 9 minutes before that make. Madlock taking on all comers.
The son of the coach making it happen. Plenty of time here, no reason to panic.
60 seconds left.
You really don't need the three here either if you can get something going to the basket.
Kelly.
Oh boy.
Pass. Boy, Cranford, how did he save that on the sideline? 6 to shoot. Moncrief looking for some daylight. He will fire, and he buries it.
My goodness, what a shot. And how about the stop on a dime for him? Defensively, you're playing as hard as you can, and you can't keep your balance, and he steps back and puts one away. Here we go.
The madness has officially begun.
I love it.
31.6 seconds left as your game reset. See the foul situation. St. Francis, Jim digging deep. Chris Moncrief tying this game with both of these schools searching for their first ever NCAA tournament win. Winner of this one will hop on the bus, make that 2.5-hour trek to Lexington, Kentucky, with the prize being over the #1 overall seed.
And the trick to that shot, which was a great shot, but the push to get himself going towards the basket a bit, force the defender into the lane. Yeah, we got.
Jimmy, what are you talking about now with your two teams? If you're these coaches, Tony Madlock, there's Rob Krimmel.
I think what you're talking about, Spiro, is the what if. What if we make a shot at one end? What if we miss, right? Because there's a 10-second differential. So if Alabama State does not score, then St. Francis has to have, they'll call a timeout, most likely come down the floor and take the last shot of the game. So I'd still like to see some activity going to the basket if you're Alabama State, because they have the guards that can produce. Knox has been real good at it. So let's see if he tries to take this right to the basket, and look at the lineup right here. There's the wall waiting for it.
St. Francis is out of fouls. Knox taking some contact. No. Fight for it.
Whoa!
And we're
That's going to be foul.
Madlock got possession, is fouled by Kelly.
Yep.
Unbelievable effort. And he's going to step to the free throw line for Alabama State.
You could just see that collision coming. It was coming right at us. And that's the right call. That's the right call. He didn't have a shot at the basketball, took the player out. And you see Madlock's number at 71%.
TJ's mom, Stacy, she can barely watch here in Dayton. There's your game reset, 11.8 seconds left. All tied at 68. The emotions, Bob Krimmel Sr., Rob's father, and now TJ Madlock, his mom Stacy looking on. Looks like, Jim, they're going to put a little bit more time on the clock, but another half second, so 12.4 seconds with TJ Madlock at the free throw line. 1-and-1 here. Madlock, 71% free throw shooter.
Make sure you're blocking out.
Short, well short. 10 seconds.
Get it to a guard if you can. Watch out, watch out.
Timeout, they turn it over, get it back. Cranford, and he coughs it up. Unreal.
Pinedo had that ball, Spiro, and you could just tell on the first dribble, as a 6'8" guy against this defense, you see that little high dribble? It wasn't a turnover or a carry there, but it was just no control whatsoever on that play. And you got a big guy with swarming guards around him. It's like you're talking about the jitters.
For the urgency level, Jim, the weight of the moment, as Alabama State will have it, 2.7 seconds left. They've just taken their final timeout. St. Francis is out of fouls. What do they draw up with Tony Madlock in that timeout huddle, with everything coming down to these final 2.7 seconds?
It'd be interesting how much time, because that was like a fumble and then some on that going down to our left. Okay, so the adjusting is at 3.4.
So they do put a little bit more time left on the clock here.
So for those of you over the weekend
Clock
watching
has been
Michigan play
adjusted to
basketball, they
3.4.
took this the same exact type of move here. And it was, I think, 5.6 or 6 seconds on the clock. Let's see, St. Francis is going to come up. A lot of times you want to get a curl, some kind of curl going towards the basket in half court.
3.4 seconds left, and here we go. This is where dreams are made.
They're going for it all.
Simpson, home run play, the deflection.
Oh!
Layup! 0.7 seconds left. Alabama State in front.
They decided to go for the gusto on that play and threw it the length of the court, thinking that somebody was going to get a hand on it. But watch this, Spiro. Everybody gets a hand on it, and they get a friendly, more than friendly bounce to get a shot right underneath.
Well, it wasn't quite Grant Hill to Leitner,
No.
but they'll take it. Amar Knox with the play of his life. How about the pass from Simpson, nearly the full length of the court. Looks like they're going to put 3/10 on the clock, add 3/10.
Clock will be reset to 1.0.
Clock.
The most extraordinary part of that play was, I know the ball's coming that way and everybody's going up, how the ball just stays in the air and goes towards the baseline. Nobody was able to stop it, if you will, and stop it on a dime, but the ball got touched by a bunch of guys, flicks it towards the baseline and right to the hands.
Just can't overstate the grittiness of this Alabama State squad.
Now you're going to see another baseball pass here, I would guess.
Damar Kelly will be the inbound man with the red flash. Looking for some March magic right here. Moncrief at the horn, and it is over in Dayton. Alabama State has won its first ever NCAA tournament game in a thriller. 70-68 with Amar Knox hitting the game winner in the closing seconds.
So you watch all the activity in the middle of the floor. 4 guys go up for it, and it softly bounces out towards their basket. Look right here, all these guys with their hands on the basketball. Unbelievable. You cannot get a better bounce.
Elation on one side and agony on the other as St. Francis's dream ends at the first 4 here in Dayton.
And Spiro, I will say that generally you don't see a baseball pass under those circumstances, as so much can happen.
Let's check in with John, standing by with the winners.
Tony, Amar, congratulations. Have you ever been involved in a play like that in all your years of basketball?
I don't think so, but I know one thing. I told you, all of our games end just like this. We either got to get a stop or we got to get a bucket.
How did your tempo change the game in the second half?
Well, we talked about it. Remember we said we had to turn the pressure up, so we was able to do that.
Why do things change for your team when this guy steps up, not just on the last play, but throughout the game?
Well, the thing about it is, he's the first-team all-SWAC guy. He didn't have a great tournament, so we knew he had to come out and get it going tonight, and he did.
All right, congratulations, Amar. Come on in right now.
Memphis, stand up, baby.
You got it, Amar. Come on in here right now. How has this team won 7 games in a row?
Man, these guys are amazing. Each and every day they come in, work. No matter if we up or down, they find a way to help us win this game. And it's a full team effort.
Auburn is next. Your thought process?
Our process is just, get ready for scouting report, get ready to play hard, and we just go play hard. And then whatever outcome comes, we're trying to get the win.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Spiro.
All right, John, two of Memphis' finest right there, the coach and his star pupil, Amar Knox. As Alabama State moving on, they'll make that 2.5-hour bus ride to Lexington. And it will be an all-Alabama affair as they'll take on the #1 overall seed Auburn on Thursday afternoon. What a finish. Alabama State moving on.